All right, welcome everybody. Today we have Marquis Stewart. He is one of the agents on my team here at SLS. I look at Marquis more as a business partner than an agent who works under me here. Marquis is an awesome asset to the team. He's a great guy. He's always motivating others. He's consistent with his sales. He's gone from essentially struggling to being really successful here. And then, as always, for some reason, this woman decided to join me today on Zoom. I don't know why, but I'm not complaining. It's okay. I think she's waiting for me on the beach in Puerto Rico and my move that I'm going on in a week. Don't tell my girlfriend that she's going to be there. I told her not to show up, but it is what it is. So guys, today we're going to get Marquis talking about his journey in insurance, and you guys can learn from him and how he crushes it. So Marquis, without further ado, let's let him know how you got here and what you are proud of, or how you got into insurance. First off, let's do that.
Absolutely. Um, so I came from a background that you know was had nothing to do with insurance at all. I came from a background, it was in sales, but it was the customer service sales, with restaurants and um, and driving the like Greyhound buses, and so working my
Oh,
way
you
up.
drove Greyhounds?
Yeah, I was a director. Well, I started off as a driver, and then I had became a director in sales and over the Greyhound bus system. But the pandemic happened, and um, and so my job was eliminated.
Oh, jeez.
They, yeah, they always start off at the top and work their way down. When they have to do cuts, and that's any corporate world, if you will.
Yeah.
And so I went back into the I so oh let me kind of start from the beginning. After I had got laid off due to the pandemic, I was living in South Dakota. I just said, you know what? I'm just going to move to Florida. I moved to Florida, went back into the restaurant industry as a manager for McDonald's, and I was doing okay financially, but I was just consistently broke. I was literally living from paycheck to paycheck, right?
Mhm.
And so I was like, it was like I was able to pay all my bills, but I couldn't go do anything. I couldn't buy anything extra because I had to wait for the next paycheck.
Mhm.
And then, of course, in the restaurant industry, you got paid every 2 weeks, and so I had to kind of like wait 2 weeks, and then by the time I got paid, I was broke before I actually got my paycheck, if that makes any sense at all. Uh, just planning things out, all that good stuff, and then I was like, I got to do something different, and so I put my resume on Indeed, and and just put it out there in the world, and I was scrolling through. I saw one of your ads, and I was like, life insurance. I know nothing about life insurance. You know what? 60,000, $80,000 a year. That's the kind of money that I was used to making when I was a director for the bus industry. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. You know what can happen? It don't work out, right?
Mhm.
So I put in the response. One of your assistants contacted me. I think I did it at like 10 o'clock at night. It was like 9 a.m. that next morning. I had got a message from one of your assistants asking me if I would do, if I would do a Zoom meeting, and I was kind of skeptical at first. I was just like, it's going to be a group setting, okay, a group interview, okay, all right, let's see what this is about. So I showed up, and they were asking questions, and telling us a little bit about the industry, and I was just like, wow, this is very interesting. I want to get into it. And then, it was kind of like going through the the course to get my license, and so that was a struggle in itself.
It is. It's a
The
challenge.
Absolutely. And so the first time I went through the course, I didn't pass it. Just trying to remember all of the terms and policies and the different types of insurance. I knew that there was life insurance, but I didn't know it was like so many different types of life insurance, right? So, and so then I went for it again the second time, passed it, got started, got my license, got everything started with SLS, and you know, I didn't prepare myself for this type of industry. Again, like I said, when I was working for the restaurants, I was living from paycheck to paycheck.
Mhm.
So, so I wasn't able to prepare myself for what this industry was, by it being, commission based
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
It's a lot.
so it was kind of a struggle getting started. It was like that first couple of weeks I was good, but then just trying to take all the information that's given to you right after you just finish your course. It was a little difficult. It was a little difficult, but you know SLS is an amazing company. The way that the way that our coaches and our leadership team just kind of like walks you through everything. They get on the back end of your calls. I mean, it was just absolutely amazing. And so um, again, not knowing, that it was commission based until I was able to get my feet on the ground. Bills started piling up, and my girlfriend, she was working at a gas station. She was a supervisor, but gas station attendants, they don't really make a whole lot of money, but
Yeah,
you
it's a
know
challenge.
absolutely. So she was doing putting in extra overtime, and so she basically was carrying me for my first 3 months. And so it was a huge struggle, and
And you're a
just
tall
trying.
guy, so to carry you, that's a lot.
Absolutely. I am. I'm a big guy, so trying to carry me, it was definitely a lot, and so just not knowing and preparing myself. I did lose my house. I did have two cars. Both my cars had got repoed, and me and my girl, we had to stay out of a motel for maybe 3 or 4 months. And so, by this being, work from home, internet based, I had to depend on the internet. And so the motel that I was staying in, the Wi-Fi was choppy. It was kind of like I couldn't, actually talk to my clients like I needed to, or I would get a client on the phone, the the internet would cut off. It would cut my clients off, and so it was just a struggle. And so it went about 6 weeks where I wasn't making any money at all, and so I said enough is enough. And so right before my second car had got repoed, I drove up to the Vera office and I got in front of the leaders and I said, "Hey, I got to make this work for me. This is my situation. I'm not giving up. I got to figure this out." I got in front of Justin. I got in front of the leaders. I said, "Tell me what I need to do. I'm all in. Tell me what I need to do." They told me what I needed to do. I applied. I went back. I applied exactly what they needed to do. And from there, my my life completely changed. It went from, making zero to, making over $1,000 a week, and I'm just highly blessed to be working for SLS.
Awesome, man. I mean, that's so cool. And you're just going to keep growing. And
Absolutely.
some of that stuff I knew about, some of it I didn't know about. But that's like pretty hardcore stuff, dude. Like most people can't push through that stuff that you push through. And what I want you guys to understand is that like most people struggle when they get in this business. Marquis is on his way to making well over $100,000 selling insurance.
Absolutely.
And like most people go through some sort of trial or tribulation when they start. It's like the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, it's a way to test on us to say, hey, are you worthy of the prosperity? Can you handle the prosperity? Because if you can't handle the tough times, it kind of prepares you for the stuff that comes in later. So like anybody out there struggling, or you can relate to Marquis's story at all, maybe not. I can't relate to the exact things that happen, but I can relate to the emotions because I've been broke. I've been broken. I've been in a situation where I didn't have anything
Absolutely
to fall back on, and where things were defaulting on credit that I had and stuff like that. So if you guys can relate to that, just know, like, don't give up and keep pushing. You can't fail if you don't quit. So, there's a lot of people, something that stuck out to me there, Marquis, too. There's a lot of people who come into this from customer service thinking that, like, oh, I worked on the phone customer service, so I can do sales. So what are some of the distinctions that you found between sales versus customer service that help you with that transition?
I think, just, not treating this as a job, but treating this as a business. And, just kind of saying that, you have to put in the work, you got to put in the activity. And if you want to be successful, if you want this to work for you, you're going to have to work. And just stay focused. Try not to, this is a work from home job, so it's very easy to get distracted. Um, Easier than you think it would be. Even though you say, oh, I don't have any distractions, you're going to have distractions, but it's just how you choose to pay attention to those distractions.
No, awesome. Cool, man. What was the turning point for you from when, like, what was that break? Because there was a breaking point for you. There was a turning point. So what clicked? Like when it clicked, what clicked?
That's a good question. I mean, it's just kind of like it was just like enough is enough. I gotta apply this. I gotta make it work. Um, it was just kind of like I started I started going over the different training materials that we had. I started watching different videos, and how to. I A great book that I started reading was the Power of One More. And so I think that once I read that book, it doesn't it doesn't just apply to this, but it applied to your everyday life of doing one more thing. It talks about relationships. It talks about the way you think. If you just do one more, and so I use that mentality. Like when I'm on the phones and I'm getting tired because it's the end of the day and I'm starting to get worn out. And so it's just kind of like if you just do that one more thing, that one more dial, that one more sale, that one more talk to Miss Jones, and that's the mentality that I had. And it seems like ever since I did that, it just took off.
That's awesome. I got that book for someone recently, and I started listening to it. And what the premise of that book is, guys, is like you have a thermometer, a thermostat. Like your body's a thermostat, right? So
that.
like you have a certain temperature, and like what Ed Milet says is that, say your thermostat's at 75 degrees and things start to heat up in your life in a good way, right? Like you get all this success, you're being successful, and yada yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes you'll almost self-sabotage back down to 75 degrees. And
Mm-hmm.
I was at a point in my life when I was like, I don't even know if I had a temperature. I was registering, it was a Kelvin on the Kelvin scale of 0, not even Fahrenheit or Celsius. Like I was like devoid of any energy. And like I made a point where I was like, and this is not what I thought, but this is what happened. I was like, I'm raising my thermostat in my life, and I'm so sick of living in this whatever temperature that the world just wants me to settle at. And I think, Marquis, you had that breaking point where you were like, dude, I'm so sick of this struggle.
Absolutely.
I'm sick of being down.
Mm-hmm.
And what's pretty incredible, man, and it shows how big of a spirit you have and how powerful of a being you are, that you were able to push through and make it happen, because those types of stresses usually shut people down. It takes a special type of person to take those hardships and turn them into wins. And everyone is capable of it, but actually I don't even know if everybody's capable of it, to be honest. I think there are some people who just can't do it, and that's what it is, unless they get some serious help from something. So the fact
Absolutely.
yeah. And like the fact you did that, it's almost like a spiritual awakening. Like that's what I can relate what happened to me. It was like I was like in jail, and I'm like, dude, what am I doing in my life? That was my low. So I can relate to your low by saying like, what is going on? I need this to change. So it's pretty incredible and powerful that happened to you, dude. So like seriously, congrats. And like,
Thank you. You know, Justin, I mean, you gotta have strong will. You gotta have strong will, and you have to believe in the process of, whatever you're doing, not just in insurance, but in life in general. I mean, it's just kind of like my girl, she's making $14 an hour at at um at a gas station, carrying the both of us, and it's kind of like enough
yeah,
is
insane.
enough. I have to do what I need to do to take care of her, to take care of us. And it's all about willpower. um, because doubt starts seeping in, that you can't do this, and you're going to have to go back to that 9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
And you start doubting yourself, and you start going into not being a depressive person, but just a depression state, if you will, because you're
Mhm.
just kind of like, your mind is going 100 miles per hour, because you're trying to figure out, okay, where to start. And so for me, it was just kind of like, you just you have to prioritize all of those different, things that's going through your mind, and you
Yeah.
got to say, what is first, what is second. And
Mhm.
so it's kind of like writing down your goals every day, right? you
Yeah.
have to you have to figure out, what is your reasoning why. What is your
Yeah.
reasoning why are you doing this? Why do you want to, um why why are you wanting to accomplish certain goals in life? And
Mhm.
so, one of my goals was to make sure that at some point, that she doesn't have to work anymore, that she can be able to retire, be a stay-at-home, um, mom. We don't have any kids yet, but if she wanted
Yeah,
to
I
be
get
a
it.
stay, yeah, if she
Want
wanted to
to
be
take
a
care of her.
stay-at-home, absolutely. And so that's one of my goals, and I think it's really cool. And I'm probably jumping the gun here, but I had won a cruise, and so the cruise that I had won, it's absolutely amazing, because I'm taking her on a cruise around the time that the cruise is. It's her birthday, so
Awesome.
it's an amazing birthday present. Neither one of us have ever been on a cruise before, so this is awesome. This is going to be awesome.
So
That
yeah,
I
so
was
Marquis, sorry, I thought you finished. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it's just really awesome to be able, um, it's kind of like when you tell your significant other about the goals and the reasoning why you're doing this. And and then they're not seeing your results,
Hmm.
and it's kind of like you're promising them this is what's going to happen. I'm going to be able to do this for you. I'm going to be able to do that, and you can't do that yet. But then you win a cruise, and you're kind of like, hey, babe, I'm going to be taking you on a cruise. And just to see her face light up because she's never been on a cruise before, that's the
That's awesome.
rewarding. That's my why.
I love that, man. No, that's huge. Like, that's awesome, dude.
Absolutely.
I'm happy for you. And so Marquis, what happened was he won a cruise here. So I put a contest out for people to win a cruise, and he won. So congrats, man.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's a huge honor. It's a huge honor.
dude, it's been great, working with you. So it's cool.
Yeah.
And my some questions have been written down. So, what advice do you give to people who are struggling? What's some advice that you want to give to people who are struggling? I guess, and are having a tough time, because most people watching this are probably having a tough time in insurance, or they're working with someone who's having a tough time.
Absolutely. Um, you know, first and foremost, don't give up. That's first and foremost. Um, you know, everybody is going to struggle. Even people who are rich, making millions of dollars, they struggle too.
Hmm.
And it just depends on how you deal with the struggles. Are you a person who just gonna be like, oh, I can't figure that out. Okay, I'm done with it. Or are you going to push through it? Are you going to push through it? And on those times when when you have that moment of success, you can't take your foot off the gas. You have to keep going. And then there's going to be times where you are going to struggle. But how do you react to that struggle? Do you take your foot off the gas and slack off, or do you keep pushing and repeating the process and staying consistent to what you're doing? Because if you stay consistent, you will start seeing that success, and it won't just stay on a steady line, but it'll start going up and up and up.
Awesome, man. What are some of the tools that SLS has provided to you that have helped you with your success? And like, what are some things? And I think this goes a long way too, because there's a lot of things we provide that make it not easier, because you still got to put the work in, but some
Absolutely.
resources. So, what are some things here that were tools and resources that helped you along the way?
I think the question is that I don't think there is not any resources. I mean, there's a tons of resources, is what I'm trying to say. Um, what one of the things that I absolutely love, that you can message the owner of the company, you can message the chief marketing officer, and just say, hey, I'm struggling in this. What is your advice? And they won't be like, oh, go to your coach. They'll give you that advice.
Yeah.
So that's one resource. Another resource, that you have coaches that, especially starting off as a new agent, you have coaches that will jump on the end of your calls and make the sell for you. And I think that that is just super awesome, that they will do that for you, because they believe in your success and they want you to succeed. There's a lot of resources. We have we have uh, agent guides, we have scripts, we have different videos, different people, mentors. I mean, it's unlimited resources
And
that we
leads.
have here, and leads. Yes, absolutely. We have unlimited leads, and you know, and so everything is there for you. Everything is there for you as long as you have that willpower, you have that drive, you you're you're independent and you're a worker, you'll do well. You'll do well.
Sweet, man. Yeah, I mean, as long as you put in the work, like that's kind of the tenets that we have. Like, as long as you put in the work, then we'll make sure we put in the work into you. So,
Absolutely.
um, so like, how has your sales process evolved over time? So, what's changed from when you started until now to where you had that big takeoff in sales? Like, so have there been any changes in your sales process that really helped?
Um, you know, absolutely. I mean, there's been a lot of sales change. You know, just you know, we have different different techniques. You know, with fact finding and doing the loops, and you know, just slowing down and actually listening to listening to your clients. And I mean, just basically just staying
Mhm.
consistent and just not giving up on you know, because there's going to be days where it's going to seem like it gets boring and it's redundant, and you know, when you're when you're calling leads, but you just have to keep staying consistent and just and set goals for yourself to be able to just push through.
Cool. Yeah, and I think over time, like people look for like a really fast, instantaneous result. And
Yep,
guys, like you can't expect it takes 10 years or something to master something. So like how can you expect to be good at this after a few weeks? Really?
absolutely.
Like it's not gonna happen. Like unless you're well, there we have one in a thousand people that we hire who are like just boom, just awesome off the start. But like this is not this position. It requires so there's a learning curve. That's why it's so lucrative, and that's why it's like you reap what you sow, and the reward the challenge is usually proportionate to the reward
Hmm.
and what you get out of it. But it takes the same amount of energy, guys, to go do something that's easy as opposed to learning this. It literally takes the same amount of energy because if you go do something that's easy and safe, it's really not because down the road you're setting yourself up for a life of never being able to enjoy the things that you want, having to see other people who took that chance, enjoy the time, enjoy that. And also, too, a big thing is like what something that really stuck out to me is I can only imagine that um, this was a challenging time for your girlfriend as well, and for her to stick by you there and support you
Absolutely.
through everything is huge because
Absolutely.
like so many people have people in their lives who like try to like get people to settle for less or just like hey just do this or like that encouragement and that support isn't there, so the fact that you have someone that is that supportive is really important. And I want you guys to understand that if someone is ever criticizing what you do, you got to keep a frame of mind of where is this information coming from. Is this person who's giving me this advice, if they're criticizing you or trying to rain on your parade, is the person who's giving me this advice where I ultimately want to be in my life? And when I started taking advice from the people who were in places I wanted to be, my life changed. I looked at James Whitley, I call him an upline, but he hates when I say that. We're really business partners, and same with Marquis here.
Mhm.
Like it's like I was like, dude, this guy, he's successful. He's got a good family. He's a good dad, and he's present with everybody, and he makes a lot of money, and he kind of can get nice things. And like, it's not about night. And I don't know. I don't think there's anything not spiritual. I mean, it doesn't make you an unspiritual person if you get nice things. Like, it's totally okay to have nice things. Just don't let them
Yep.
define who you are, right?
Absolutely.
But yeah, but like if you got to keep in mind where you're getting this advice from. So I started, 10X was like Grant Cardone stuff. I started listening to him. Like when I started my business, guys, it was like, I was like, Grant Cardone was like, max out all your credit cards. if I went to anybody who wasn't successful financially and was just middle class, barely getting by, that they would have never, no one would have ever recommended that ever. They don't believe in debt, all this stuff. And Cardone's like, no, dude, max it out. And I'm like, okay, who am I going to listen to? This guy who's a billionaire who I hope has the best interests of mine at heart. Because I looked at it like this. I'm at a business conference. I'm like, what's this guy got to lose by giving me bad advice or to gain? You know, like
Right.
he's here. He makes so much money off his real estate. He does not have to be talking to us on stage right now. He could literally, like Rory, who owns SLS, same thing, right? So the cool thing, guys, about SLS too is we have Rory, who owns the IMO. SLS isn't an agency; we're an IMO. Okay, so Rory owns the IMO, and he's on all our Zoom calls, and like he doesn't have to be. You know, he could go do literally whatever he wants every single day. So keep in mind when you're getting some advice, if people are criticizing what you're doing, evaluate the source. Is this person supposed to be giving me advice? Like my dad, right? He maybe watch this. I don't know. I love my dad, but I'll never ask, and he'll tell me this. I'll never ask him for business advice or relationship advice. And he tells me, he's like, I don't know about that. Don't ask me about business or relationships. And I don't know either. I'm not proficient at it. So yeah, cool, man. So
Yeah, Justin, one of the things that I learned is, you know, um, if you want to be successful, you have to surround yourself around successful people, and basically mimic what they've done. Just like with this process, there's people who have done it. So it's kind of like when they're training you and when they're telling you to do it this way, do it that way, because obviously their success, you see that they're being successful, and if you
exactly.
just mimic what they're doing, you're going to be successful.
Don't
I've
change the wheel.
don't
Sorry.
absolutely no absolutely. I struggled with that at the very beginning, and so, I've lost a lot of friends from being in this industry, because they didn't understand. They didn't understand it, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay that I had to distance myself because those were the negative. They
Yeah,
weren't getting me to where I wanted to be and where I needed to be to grow. And so, that was part of my struggle, because it's like, and I mean, these are friends that's years, but when Justin talks about the thermostat in, the book of One Power, the Power of One More, he talks about that. You might have to let people go, and that's okay to get where you want to be and to become successful. And so,
exactly. It's true.
yeah,
I've had to do with friends, family members, and like, guys, look at, if someone is not supporting you,
absolutely.
run away. If someone is not encouraging or supporting you of your goals and ultimate dreams and ambitions, run away. It's like seasons, right? You get a tree, leaves fall off. Same with the people you associate with.
Mhm.
If you're going to grow, in order to grow, you have to shed skin a little bit sometimes. So,
Yeah,
guys, I have a meeting I have to get to. Marquis, thank you so much for being here. I know you're a huge inspiration
absolutely.
to me and so many other people, and you've got incredible story, man, of grit and persistence. So,
Yes.
thank you so much for being here. You
Thank
guys,
you for
if you
having
want
me.
to, yeah, you're welcome, man. If you want to get in touch with Marquis or myself, just check the contact information in the description of the video. And you want to check this next video coming up to learn how Peter sold 84,000 AP his second month selling life insurance, I believe it was. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.